Welcome everyone. Welcome to the joint board meeting between Jurupa Unified School District and Riverside Community College District. Roll call, please.
President Garcia.
Here.
Trustee Ortega. Here. Trustee Bradford. Here. Trustee Char.
Here.
Trustee Rego.
Here.
President Fackler absent. Trustee Figueroa. Here. Trustee Pedrick.
Here.
Trustee Blumenthal.
Here.
Trustee Alcala.
Here. Okay, at this time, Mr. Henry, will you please do us the honor of the flag salute?
Right hand over your heart. Ready to begin?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Before we get started, I want to, next item here would be to call for public verbal comments. So I'd like to ask anyone in the audience if they have any comments to address the boards at this time. Okay, seeing none, we'll move on. Before we start, I'd like to just do a brief introduction. I also want to talk a little more on those, but let's just go around the room. We're going to start with Mrs. Regal here, and we'll just go around the room here.
My name is Melissa Regal. I'm from Trustee Jurupa. I'll talk about myself. I'm new, apparently. I've lived in Jurupa Valley for about 12 years, and I have 2 children that have gone to this district, and that was part of my motive of being more involved, because my last one is getting ready to graduate, and so I truly have had a great experience and want to continue that message to other families. My name is Linda Chard, and I have been in the district all my life. I grew up going through the schools and attended elementary, junior high, and graduated from River High School. I graduated from RCC with an associate in arts degree. I wanted to be a legal secretary. I do business, actually. And I was a legal secretary for several years until I developed arthritis in my hands, so I had to quit. Took off for a few years, then came back to the district where I had my very first job, and decided to raise money, earn money, so I could put my kids through college. Both my children went through the schools here and graduated. They're both teachers now. One is a teacher at Riverdale, but they went on to 4-year universities. My son graduated from Boston University, and my daughter graduated from Cal State Monterey Bay and became a teacher also. I wanted to be on the board because I didn't like what the board was doing at the time. I would say that, and people kept saying, you should be on the board, get on the board. Well, after I retired, I had the opportunity to join the board, and the board was doing good things then. And we had a bond issue coming up, and that's why I wanted to get that bond issue passed to help our schools repair themselves, because I had been in the district 50 years and I knew what they were like. I worked at one of them for 21 years, and I felt that I needed to get out there and support the people that I represent and try and bring help to the district, to the board. Our board is a good board. We have a really well-working board. I've been on board for 6 years now, so about 5 years. In my last term, starting in December.
My name is Karen Bradford. I've lived here since 1980 when it was still dark at nighttime and you heard cows mooing and horses, just like when I grew up in Anaheim, but things change. I've actually had more involvement with Riverside through previous jobs, public relations manager at the press enterprise and campus communications officer at UC Riverside. But I'd always thought that one owes one's community to be involved. And I always thought that some sort of public service should be in everybody's future. Fortunately, it isn't for many of them, but as far as I'm concerned, I'm delighted to be here in the company of people who have similar objectives of wanting our children to be the best prepared for the difficulties of coming decades. and I'm delighted you're here. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Sylvia Ortega, as well a board member here, going on my third year. I ran because I also am a product of this district. I grew up, I'm 31 years old, so I've lived here since I had diapers, and went all the way from Head Start all the way to 12th grade. The interesting thing about my story is that I got expelled my freshman year from Jurupa High School, and I had a really strong mentors who said I was going to be the first one for my family to go to college. Out of 7 siblings that we are, a very humble family. And I know that we are still, some of these families still live in our community, so I just wanted to be a set of an example of resiliency that if I did it, students here in our community can do it as well. And my greatest 2 passions in my life have been and will continue to be education and health. And I worked here with pregnant women, so I started seeing the value of home visitation and how our district, out of many surrounding, we were one of the few that saw the big value in home visitation, and I wanted to contribute since I had experience in that. And also just going back to the colleges, so I took a couple classes and semesters there in RCC2, and just really helping, you know, and empowering our students to let them know that there's no limits, and we here in our district embody that and share that as well. So it's an honor for me to be here with you all and the leaders of education. So thank you.
Thank you. My name is Robert Garcia. I've been in this district, I think, 22 years. My wife is a product of this district. All 3 of my children have graduated from this district. And my day job, I work in technology. And so one of my big passions is technology, CTE, but especially parent involvement. Parent involvement is probably the biggest challenge facing all school districts, you know. So I'm delighted you could all be here today. I'm just starting my 2nd term, so I'm in my 5th year. And so I'm really glad you could join us today.
Good evening, I'm Elliot Ducharme. I'm the oldest student in Jurupa Unified School District. Think like a student and act like a student and be a student. It's been my honor to be superintendent of the district for 15 years. I actually started teaching here in 1977, about half a mile down the road. Left for a while to Riverside and came back, and it's just been a fantastic place. That the people in this community are just a wonderful group of people to serve. It's an honor for me.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Gregory Anderson. I'm still the new president of Riverside City College. I'm delighted to be here. I'm delighted to see the wonderful connections that we have between our district and your district. That's really all. Thank you.
Good evening, and my name is Walter Abisak. I serve as the Chancellor for Riverside Community College District. Only been in the job for a little over a year, but I have been in the district for 14 years. As a background, I lived in and worked in 5 countries. I worked in Ethiopia, in Eritrea, in Nigeria, in Sweden, and in the United States. I am fortunate to be collaborating with your school district. It is one of the most wonderful people that you have. I'm proud to call him my friend. And we've been working since I was a vice president and then a president of Riverside, and now the chancellor, and our friendship has grown stronger and stronger. So once again, thank you, and it's really an honor to call you our partners.
Good evening, my name is Brian Reese. I'm president of Norco College, and we're really, I'm going to echo the sentiments of my colleagues here. We're really excited to be here tonight and to continue building on this partnership. Norco College currently has a dual enrollment partnership with Jurupa Valley High School, and I think you'll hear from the presentation tonight. One of the things we're very excited about is the idea of being able to offer college courses in the high schools for free and that are transferable to the RCCD system, but actually to any college or university. We believe it's a really good way to make college high-quality education affordable to families in our areas. So we're looking forward to building this partnership.
Good evening, buenas noches. I lost my voice several weeks ago and haven't come back. I am Mary Figueroa, and I currently sit as the Vice President of this board, and I want to thank our Jurupa colleagues for hosting us. It's always really nice to get out and to see some of our partnerships. I sit as the current longest serving member of the board. I'm just now entering, believe it or not, my 24th year. I was born and raised in Riverside, third generation, only a mile and a half from RCC. I was, like Ms. Ortega indicated, in her family, I was the first one in my family to both graduate from high school and to attend and then graduate from UC Riverside. I have to tell you that I would not be sitting here with you, being able to make decisions that affect our community if it had not been for the quality that that education afforded me. I still have friends that currently reside in the east side of Riverside that did not have the same benefits that I did, and it was all based on my education and the fact that I was able to benefit from that. I strongly believe that. And so that's part of the reason why I spent 21 years in the Department of Corrections as a correctional counselor at the California Institution for Men in Chino, and saw firsthand the absence of education for people on a continuing basis, and strongly believe that education is the equalizer. And so I'm very, very proud to sit here. Believe it or not, I want to mention one thing. My fellow trustee, Virginia Blumenthal, and I met actually before we were on the board. I was working in the district attorney's office as a victim witness advocate on the sexual assault child abuse unit. And she was on the other side of the courtroom for me. But even now, we still speak, we still challenge each other, and we still respect each other and our differences. And it's only because of that that we're able to work on behalf of this district and on behalf of the community. But that's the type of individuals that you have sitting here in front of you. Thank you.
So I'm sitting between Trustee Figueroa and Trustee Blumenthal. My name is Bill Hedrick, and I represent of course we all represent the district as a whole, as you all do, but my area is Eastvale, Norco, and North Corona. First off, I'd like to thank you very much for the excellent district that you have and the programs that you offer. My grandchildren are students here. One is at Sunny Slope, the other one at Jurupa Middle. They've gone through the bilingual program that you offer, and it's been a real pleasure to have them with you. I was a Corona Norco trustee for 22 years prior to coming to this board. I was elected in 2016, and I have to say it is I've enjoyed the service very much, but fortunately our motto for the district, our goals, are something that I subscribe to and is an excellent fit for me, and that is equity, access, and success for our students. So again, thank you for hosting us, and we look forward to the presentation. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Virginia Blumenthal. I've been in this area a long time. Graduated Poly High School, etc. And Riverside City College. I'm practicing criminal defense attorney for 44 years. That's my daytime job. My nighttime job is I've had 13 years on this board, and I love it here. And as Mary says, Mary and I are on opposite ends of the political spectrum, and yet I don't think, I laugh about the problems that our district faces don't have political labels for 99% of the time. And if you want a problem resolved, Mary and I can do it. Because we see things from each other's viewpoint, we applaud each other. I learned a lot from Mary. I really care about the education. I too am the first high school graduate and college graduate in my family. And I'm a believer in education. I'm a believer with our district. I have seen how much our district has done. I know what it did for me, and I know what it's done for others. And in wanting the education in our area, given that we have the lowest college going rate in the nation, I have a real strong desire to work with all the districts. And your district happens to be my area that I represent anyway of the RCCD, the trustees. And I'm a real believer in getting our college going rate higher, and I think it can be done. We just have to get more creative. I think it will help our area, it will help all of us if we can increase that college going rate and be more successful at completion. I look forward to the presentation tonight. It's so nice being here. Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Jose Alcala. I'm a continuation high school teacher in Moreno Valley. I've been doing this for 15 years. I'm also currently finishing out my term as a board member for the California Teachers Association. I've been doing that for, this is my eighth and last year. I chose not to pursue that anymore. I am also a product of RCC. Myself, my mother, and my sister, all products of RCC. My mother completed the cosmetology program and was actually practicing up until this last year when her two shoulders just went bad after, gosh, since the early 90s of doing hair, so that was it. But that's where I first learned about RCC and what it could do for a family. Like I said, this has been, being an advocate for public education has been a part of me since I started teaching. And so the opportunity came up, I jumped at it, especially since I knew firsthand what RCC had done for me and my family. I took the opportunity. I represent, or I am elected to trust the area 4. It's the southern end of the district that goes from Corona all the way out to Paris. So all the other parts, all the leftover pieces as far as when they carved out that. But again, as my colleagues have said, we represent the whole district, and I'm glad to be here with you all tonight and just continue the great work that the two districts are doing together. So thank you for hosting us, and it's been great meeting you all this evening.
Thank you all, and some of you I know already, but I'm glad to know those of you that haven't met. So if we can move on, and I know the folks up here, maybe when you do a presentation, you just do a little introduction. So moving on to administrative reports, and I'm not sure exactly how we're going to start. So okay.
Good evening, members of all boards and members of the audience. I'd like to, I'm so sorry, thank you very much. Good evening. I'd like to introduce the presentation this evening. In spring 2018, and I'm going to read this to make sure I get all of this correct. In spring of 2018, the Riverside Community College District Board of Trustees and the Jurupa Unified School District Board of Education entered into a college and career access pathway agreement. That's also known as the CCAP. That was to allow a unique type of college coursework to occur on the high school campuses of JUSD. Currently, 2 RCCD colleges, Riverside City College and Norco College, are collaborating with 3 Jurupa Unified School District high schools, Jurupa Valley, Patriot, and Rubio, in this CCAP agreement. The Board for Riverside Community College District has been kept apprised of this, and I'm sure through the superintendent, the trustees of the Jurupa Unified School District have also been kept apprised. But this is our first opportunity to provide a joint presentation to make sure that all the trustees, all the elected officials have the information they need. We're thrilled with the success of this program. It is a model of cooperation between the 2 districts because it's focused on students' success and encouraging them to see themselves as college-going individuals from their families. Tonight, Dr. Farrar, our Vice President of Academic Affairs at Riverside City College is joined by Ms. Roberta Pace, who's the Director of College and Career Readiness at Jurupa Unified School District, and by Dr. Maureen Sinclair. She's the Project Director at Norco College. They'll provide an update to members of both boards about the current status, especially highlighting the progress to date of the CCAP efforts. Please.
Thank you very much. Good evening, Board President Garcia, Board Vice President Figueroa, members of the Jurupa Unified School District Board of Education, members of the Riverside Community College District Board of Trustees, Superintendent Duchamp, Chancellor Isak, and honored guests. My name is Carol Farrar, and as my introduction explained to you, I'm the Vice President of Academic Affairs at Riverside City College. It's my pleasure to lead this presentation on dual enrollment, which highlights the partnership for student success between our two districts. Joining me tonight again are Maureen Sinclair. Come on up here, please. Maureen Sinclair, again, the project director from Norco College, and Roberta Pace from Jurupa Unified. Just a few words about dual enrollment. Dual enrollment introduces high school students to college-level work by allowing them to take certain college courses along their regular high school classes. Courses can be in basic skills, often a level below English or math, or provide advanced academic work or involve vocational or technical education. The purpose behind dual enrollment programs of all sorts is to give students knowledge and skills, a pathway that encourages them to continue their post-secondary journey. Some schools use the term concurrent enrollment instead of dual enrollment. Technically, the two are interchangeable. In the state of California and Riverside City College, or Community College District, we use them rather specifically. So we'll go through that in the presentation. Okay, go back. There we are. Okay. So first, some more information about dual enrollment. Even more information. I'd like to. This is data from a study by Brian Ahn, who is an assistant professor of educational policy and leadership studies at the University of Iowa. He did a very extensive peer-reviewed study and using a nationally representative sample of students who began post-secondary education way back in 2003. And he was demonstrated that students who took dual enrollment courses were 10% more likely to complete a bachelor's degree than the comparison group who did not enroll. You're saying, wait, 10% isn't there. That's because the benefits were even better, even greater, 12% for students whose parents had never attended college. So the first generation students are 12% more likely to complete college, to complete a bachelor's degree if they engage in these sorts of dual enrollment programs. Students enrolled in dual enrollment are 23% more likely to enroll in college immediately following high school, and 19% more likely to complete a bachelor's degree, so even more, if they take 2 or more courses in a dual enrollment program. So a little bit about the benefits. Next slide. Thank you, Ms. So tonight we're going to go over a little information about our shared students. We'll review our continuing efforts in what our district refers to as concurrent enrollment, our arrangements through articulation where our students can mutually benefit, our early college high school effort through an MOU with Rubidoux High School, which continues to be going strong, and then finally discuss our emerging efforts with CCAP, or College and Career Readiness, and the Unified School District's work on K-12 strong workforce. All right, so our students. Next slide. Thank you. So first-time students, first-time freshmen at any of our Riverside Community College District colleges have been increasing slightly over the last 3 years. So you can see the totals there along the bottom have been very slightly inching up. The most recent data available for fall 2017 The students from Jurupa Unified School District represented 8.3% of the entering freshmen at the Riverside Community College District colleges. Another metric that the Community College District uses is referred to as capture rates. That refers to students who are above 19 years of age and graduates from any unified school district. So that graph, that's very colorful and full of information there, lists all of the feeder high school districts for Riverside Community College District colleges. The gray line with the boxes is Jurupa Unified School District. So we capture, our CCD colleges capture about 25% of your graduates, our JUSD graduates, who are over the age of 19 years old and graduates from your high schools. So a little, next slide. The race and ethnicity of the JUSD first-time freshmen at Riverside Community College District colleges with respect to the demographics of the graduating class are shown in this slide. And so as you can see, we fairly well mirror the demographics of your graduating class, with the Hispanic population being the majority of the graduating class and the vast majority of our incoming freshmen at the college. The next largest is those that are defined by the census as white. There's some variation there going back and forth between white and Hispanic. The orange band is Asian, students that identify as Asian, and the blue band is students that identify as African American. Next slide. With regard to student success, this slide shows the degrees and certificates awarded between fall 2012 and fall 2015 for students who were first-time freshmen during those years. So this gives a 4-year window, and we look at students who were awarded certificates, students who were awarded a certificate and transferred, students who transferred only without achieving a degree or a certificate from the college, and then the students who have not yet completed any, or in the next column, the total students who are in the study in the next column, and the percent who have completed any degree, certificate, or transfer as in the final column. So at Riverside Community College District, you can see that in the bottom section of the chart, Jurupa Unified School District students complete with us at about a 16.7%. All other Riverside Community College feeder districts combined are at a rate of 26%. So we look at that metric as an opportunity for the college to improve in service to our students, and to make ourselves better ready for the students as they come to us. Next slide.
Hi, good evening. A little bit about concurrent enrollment, just so you have a little bit of background, so you can weigh the difference between what concurrent enrollment has to offer the students and what the CCAP program has to offer the students. Concurrent enrollment, the students come over to the college to take college courses. There are some requirements. They have to be 16 years of age or older. They must have a 3.0 GPA. They apply to the college. They have forms that they have to fill out for the parents' approval. They have to get their official high school transcript. And then they have to enroll on the first day of class, which puts them a little bit at a disadvantage because they're up against everybody else who's registering. Some of the benefits are free tuition. They count as weighted grades to the high school courses. They get a college transcript. And they may count, certain courses may count as graduation requirements to the high schools. Now some challenges. Well, that's back to that first day of registration. And that GPA 3.0 sometimes is really tough, especially if they don't excel in one particular subject. The age restriction, you have some high flyers that might not be 16 that could really benefit from a dual enrollment type program. And they must pay for the fees and the health fees and admission fees and books. And books, as you know, are very expensive. They're also capped at 9 units. Some can get a waiver with going through the protocol to 11 units. And that's in major terms. 5 units in summer, winter sessions. So they're really limited opposed to the CCAP on the number of units that they can take.
Good evening, everyone. I know that you'll hear a lot tonight about concurrent enrollment and about CCAP enrollment, but there's another way that our high school students have a chance to earn college credit through RCCD, and that's through articulated credits. And I know that members of the RCCD board are probably very familiar with that, but I'm not sure that everyone in Jurupa is. So I get to talk about that for just a little bit. I sometimes declare that it's the best kept secret and the best deal for our students that exists. And what happens in articulated credit is it exists primarily for CTE classes, and when the high school course is basically identical to the college level course in terms of the course content, the rigor, the assessment, all of that, as a district we can submit an articulation proposal to RCCD. Faculty members from RCCD sit down and take a look at that proposal, take a look at our course plan, take a look at our finals, and if they concur that those courses are of similar content and similar rigor, then that course is approved for articulated credit. The deal for our students is that they never have to go to the college. They take the class just like as part of their regular high school class. It's taught by their high school teacher, and they become eligible for that articulated credit if they earn a B or higher in second semester of that course. And if we take a look at the next slide, I can share some numbers about how our students do in our articulated coursework. We currently have 13 agreements across the Riverside Community College District for articulation. And if you take a look at students who earn a B or higher in articulated, identified, and approved courses, both through RCCD and other community colleges that we work with, you can see the numbers of our students who are eligible for articulated credit, whether that was taught by a Jurupa Unified employee teacher or whether it was through our key course that's offered on our campuses.
Okay, next slide, please. So, at Rubidoux High School, Riverside City College has a unique arrangement with that particular high school in that we have the Rubidoux Early College High School, or REACHES program, out of Rubidoux. Thank you. The program was launched in fall of 2006. Students are recruited in 8th grade for that program. The high school initiates that recruitment and makes the program very well known to the students in 8th grade. When they arrive at Rubidoux High School, the students in 9th and 10th grade take a very intensive preparatory courses, getting them ready for the college level courses. The college courses are taught in 11th and 12th grade. These courses are open enrollment for the college, meaning while they are taught at the high school site, they are open to enrollment for all Riverside Community College District students, and also open for enrollment for the students in the REACHES program. Some of the courses that have been offered over the years in 11th grade have been art history, a guidance class called Introduction to College, a communications class, music appreciation, public speaking, introduction to sociology, and U.S. history. In 12th grade, or grade 12, some courses that have been offered are the critical thinking course, cultural anthropology, the English composition course, or basic English composition, a nutrition course, and world religions. The students in the program can graduate with up to 30 units, and there are currently sorry, I'm trying to imagine. There are currently 2 junior cohorts and 2 cohorts in grade 12 moving through the program at all times. Roberta, do you want to talk about the benefits of the Rubidoux arrangement?
This is really just a great way for our district to, that we got started in terms of dual enrollment that was offered on the Rubidoux High School campus. And what's great is that the students are, as far as high school is concerned, they're scheduled for a partial day. They take 4 high school classes, and then the rest of their day is supporting of their college coursework. And we have a number of these students, like Dr. Farrar said, who graduate with up to 30 credits, which is basically 1 year of college completed. Most of them go on to matriculate to RCCD, and then from there, most of them also go on to transfer to another bachelor's degree.
Thank you. Next slide. Some statistics from the last few years of the REACHES program. In the left-hand side is the student head count. And so as you can see, we have about 100 students at any time, at any given semester going through this program, roughly 50 juniors and 50 seniors. The enrollments, as you can see in the top of the right-hand side of the slide, the enrollments are the number of students enrolled in each course, and so, of course, if each student takes about 1 or 2 courses, you can see the enrollments are around 200, or around 200. Course success, these are students who remain enrolled at census, who at the end of the term earn a passing grade, so an A, a B, or a C for passing. So there's a very high success rate for our Rubidoux students. Next is the college and career access pathway. Next slide. The purpose of the CCAP is to expand dual enrollment to students who may not already be college-bound or who are underrepresented in higher education. The goals of CCAP are to provide a seamless pathway to community college or to community college for career and technical education or for transfer. To improve high school graduation rates, because the classes, if offered in an appropriate sequence, can count for A through G graduation requirements at the high school, as well as for a college level course for transfer. And to improve college and career readiness. Next slide. Some of the features of CCAP, the legal foundation that allows us to provide the CCAP program is AB 288. The restrictions are courses must be offered on a pathway. So the students, the college is required to develop a path and work with the Unified School District, work with our high school partners to identify the appropriate pathway that that particular student population might benefit from. So it can't be just a random offering of courses. It can't be just a one-off course here and there. It has to be on an educational path. There are flexible offerings for scheduling, so that the CCAP programs in some of our high schools are offered during 0 and 1st period. Some high schools offer it 5th and 6th or 6th and 7th. Some high schools have after-school programs. So there's a variety of flexibility that the CCAP, that AB 288 allowed. Credits can be earned for high school graduation and college, as I've mentioned. The apportionment for each institution can be claimed as long as the high school students do their minimum daily 4 courses or 4 periods of attendance. The high school can claim full ADA for those students, and then the college can, provided the right restrictions apply, can claim apportionment for the college course. And the impact on students, obviously, like all dual enrollment programs, the students can save time and money as they move through their education. The idea of saving time is fairly obvious. Sometimes the concept of how much money can actually be saved you can benefit from actually seeing that displayed for you. Yeah, that's okay. Okay. So this is the potential savings in the cost of a four-year degree for only tuition and fees. So we're not even talking about how lodging, textbooks, all kinds of food, all kinds of other things, transportation that feed into the student's cost of an education. So we're just only looking at tuition and fees. If students take full advantage of the CCAP program and complete their first year of college while in high school, that's at zero cost to them. Then their second year in college, if they transfer over to an RCCD college like Norco or Riverside City College, again, with the Promise program, zero cost to the student. Then they transfer to a Cal State University. All Cal States have slightly different ranges, but this is an average of around $7,000 a year for tuition and fees, and then their fourth year again. So the overall cost savings for a family could be up to near $15,000 just in tuition and fees alone. If they plan on going to a UC, it's an even brighter picture. So the same story, just tuition and fees alone. UCs have a very standard rate of tuition and fees, so they're just around $14,000 right now. And so families can save close to $28,000 in tuition and fees alone if the students successfully matriculate through the CCAP program, through JUSD, and attend one of the RCCD colleges. That's roughly a savings of anywhere from $1 million to $2.2 million per high school. And you can imagine that number is actually much greater if we factor in other variables. This next slide. The college and career access pathways relationships, while the agreement is district to district, when it hits the ground, the colleges and the high schools have a unique relationship with each other. Norco College is collaborating most closely with Jurupa Valley, and Riverside City College is collaborating most closely with Riverdale and with Patriot High School.
Okay, a little bit more about CCAP. One thing that CCAP provides students, and this is pretty much all the colleges that are offering RCC and NORCO, is student support and outreach. That's a really important component to it for the student success. We do senior nights and parent nights to inform the parents of exactly what CCAP is and what the benefits are to their students. We hold application workshops so the students aren't guessing, what do I do? How do I get to the website? We actually walk them through that process. We also walk them through the registration workshops at the high school. So once they've applied, there was a disconnect. The students thought they were in the class. Well, no, then you have to register for the class. So now we've done registration workshops that captures those students, and we can find out, oh, wait a minute, somebody applied, but they haven't registered yet. And then we contact them. So it's a really high-touch system that we've got going, all for student success. And then we do information resources. We have flyers. We have all kinds of things. And we have, right now, NORCO's doing ed advisors. They're on the high school campuses we have agreements with, and they're there at least one day a week. And they provide extra touches if the students have questions, if they're having problems in a class, if they're not showing up for class. All of that wraps around for the students to be able to be successful and stop that at a junction where they may go south and then not complete. We're helping them over those humps and those hurdles. Okay, so admissions and records. That's another key part of dual enrollment. They have to have, they get a transcript. That's really important to students, to have that college transcript that shows them that they can do it. I'm going to let you talk to the invoice. invoicing because we don't host.
Sure. Well, as part of the agreement, the textbooks are free. Jurupa Unified purchases the textbooks for all the CCAP programs. So we facilitate that district invoicing so that we can make sure that all of our students have the textbooks that they need. In addition, the application and enrollment issues are handled by admissions and records in both Norco and RCC. While we may have slightly different approaches, we both work very closely with our high school partners to provide the level of outreach and admissions and records support that's needed at the high schools.
And this truly is a partnership because we recognize that as a district that we didn't want to rely exclusively on RCCD to provide support for our CCAP students. We have two different models that are in place. The partnership with Norco College works primarily with career technical education courses and building off of the experience that our students have in the Innovation Center at Jurupa Valley High School. And for that particular CCAP model, we targeted students that were in 11th and 12th grade, and we did it as an after-school CCAP model. So one of the things that we did is that we offered students who were enrolled in CCAP the opportunity to have an open first period so they wouldn't have quite as heavy an academic load. Many of them said, no, I can do it. I want to do my regular 6 periods in high school and then still do my college classes afternoon, but that was an option that was available. We provide office space for the ed advisor when she comes, and she's amazing. The work that she does with her students, but then our academic counselors also are following up with all of our students that are in the CCAP program with Norco College. At Jurupa High School, with that program, we were working with a little bit different student population. We were looking at the traditional, I guess, to transfer pathway. So it's preparing students to transfer to a 4-year program. And we started with 10th graders. And so what we did was we put them on a modified day where they take just 4 high school classes in the morning before lunch, and then their college classes are in the afternoon, either Monday, Wednesday, or Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, depending on their schedule. And those classes end at the same time as their regular high school day ends, so they can still ride the bus to get home. They're getting out of school the same time as their friends are. But for 2 or 3 days a week, that Tuesday, Thursday, and the Friday, if they don't have a college class then, we said, we don't really love the idea of sending 10th graders home at lunch because we think that they're going to need some more support to be successful. And so both Jurupa High School and Patriot High School have adopted a block schedule for our students in the afternoon. And at Jurupa High School, they're enrolled in a block Avid 10 class where they get exposure to Avid strategy, Avid support, Avid tutors to help them be successful. And at Patriot High School, they're in a block world history class that's taught by a teacher who also has her counseling credential, and so she's also doing some of that follow-up and monitoring in terms of how they're doing in their CCAP classes.
And then, next slide. Thanks. Then with regard to student academic support, counseling, ed advising, tutoring, peer mentors, library access, faculty advising, these are all elements, at least for the RCC program, that will be rolling out in year 2 of the CCAP agreements. It sounds like Norco has some ed advising going on as well already, and we definitely at Riverside City College will begin the more intensive student academic support as the students move into year 2 of the program. College, and so the program at Norco is right now primarily with Jurupa Valley, and Maureen will go over the current statistics for that.
Okay, we started this last fall, and that was our first class going through. We had 68 students. We had 115 enrollments, so many of the students were taking more than one class. And the course success rate was 90%. And what that means is that course success rate means that students that got a C or better. So that's what we measured the success rate by. In spring, we have 65 students and 90 enrollments. And then we obviously don't know the success rate. As you can see up there, that we've got a man 55. They also got a certificate for that. They got their OSHA certificate through that one course. So they all, everyone that was in the class that got a SC or better actually got that certificate. We have an ILA 3 that we offer every semester, and that's like our guidance piece. It's student resiliency, and that's helping the student to understand what college life is all about. That, you know, deadlines meet deadlines, and when you have a test and you have a homework, it's due when it's due. And they just kind of go through kind of College 101 along with study skills, leadership skills, finding about who they are and what their passion is. So it's a nice run, and that's something that we want all students to take at some point in time. And hopefully it's in their first semester. We gear this for sophomores and then juniors, because we want them to, that's their first touch. That's our onboarding type class. Then we also offer CIS, which is computers. We have a couple of those classes going on. And once again, you see the ILA 3, that's with every pathway we have. Upcoming, this coming fall, we're also starting an IGETSI pattern for them. We're launching that this fall, and we're hoping that it's gonna, we've got it started and that we're building on that program. Okay, thank you, Marie. At Rubidoux and at Patriot High School, we started with a transfer focus pathway for the students at these high schools. Now you can see that it's divided into a 3-year rollout. So we didn't have the resources to, and just didn't think it would be a wise idea to try to land at the finish. So we have a 3-year rollout starting with 10th grade. And that first year in green, those are our first cohort students. Now as you move to year 2, those students in green will start taking either sociology. This is a draft. Some high schools will have sociology, some will have intro to psychology, some will have genetics. So it just depends on what the right fit is for the specific high school. Communication studies, either public speaking or interpersonal communication, will be offered to the 11th graders. And then there's the optional psychology course. So this is a sample pathway. Then in year 3, that first cohort will be in 12th grade, and they'll take the appropriate level of English, either English composition, freshman composition, or perhaps they'll take a step below that and then complete English composition in their second semester. Then in their 3rd year, we'll discern if the students are ready for more of a STEM math pathway or a non-STEM math pathway. So that will be decided as the cohort moves into 12th grade. Then if you scoot back to year 2, you see in, I don't know what color that looks like on yours. Mine looks pink, but I think that's because my printer was running out of ink. But the second cohort there at the top starts with the music class, the theater class, and the guidance class. So those are our new 10th graders. And then as those 10th graders move into year 3, they'll take either the sociology, the comm studies, and the psych. Right? And then in year 3, it's the full rollout of the entire transfer focus pathway, and the 3rd cohort of 10th graders will start. Now, with the music and the theater courses, those courses count in your district as, I swore I wasn't going to use the VAPA. What is VAPA? Visual and Performing Arts, thank you. I had a total blank, and I was like, to say Visual and Performing Arts for my Board of Trustees members and VAPA for my Board of Education members, since you all have we all have our own jargon. So, so those are true dual enrollment courses. Some courses will not satisfy an A through G requirement, but will count as high school credit courses towards graduation. Okay. And they all transfer, and these are all courses that are on a transfer path
to a CSU or a UC. Then when they come to us at Riverside City College, they can specialize, well, we'll get to that in a minute. But anyway, that's the path that we started with at Rubidoux and at Patriot. So we started a little different than Norco. So on the next slide is our first year of the transfer focus pathway at Rubidoux. So Rubidoux continues to have reaches. Reaches is valuable. We would never gut reaches. We love reaches. We're going to leave that the way it is and keep circling back and making sure that that's doing what it's supposed to do and serving our students well. Okay. But Rubidoux said we want both. We want reaches and CCAP. And so the CCAP students are those students who may be not thinking about college initially. So those students, we have 32 in the fall, and we have 32 continuing with us in the spring. They enrolled in one class in the fall and are enrolled in 2 classes in the spring. And 100% of the students who enrolled in the music appreciation course were able to successfully pass with an A, a B, or a C. Didn't all get A's, but they all passed. At Patriot High School, we had a spring rollout of the CCAP, so they are just starting this spring. There are 29 students enrolled in one class. And then we've discussed this with Roberta, and we have a way to get those 10th graders back onto the regular path so that they won't lose an opportunity. The great part about CCAP, one of the advantages of CCAP, next slide please, is that whatever path the students are on, it will align with Norco or Riverside City College's transformation and learning pathways. So whatever coursework those students complete at Rubidoux or Patriot or at Jurupa Valley will feed into one of the schools at Norco College or one of the 8 instructional pathways at Norco College. And that's where our counselors and our ed advisors can help our students crystallize their path as they leave Jurupa Unified and matriculate over to an RCCD school. Next slide. The program growth and timeline. The top square shows currently where we are with 2 pathways, an engineering and manufacturing pathway at Jurupa Valley and digital graphics. And I thought I had caught all of them, but I do my best proofreading right in front of you all. It's called a general ed pathway. It was called remember I was referring to it as a transfer focus path because it's not necessarily, anyway, it better describes what the students are doing, that transfer focus. So at Patriot and at Rubidoux right now, we have a transfer focus pathway. Then the bottom chart shows that eventually we will be layering on a potential career and technical pathway for the students at Patriot and Rubidoux. And Maureen just mentioned, just heard her say that they will have an IGETSI pathway for Jurupa Valley coming on soon. So the estimated enrollments in dual enrollment are shown on the right-hand side. The bottom dark blue that remains is what we're doing right now in, well, let me take this one at a time. The first fall 18 and spring 19, those are our actual numbers with students in the bottom part of each of those bars. Those are our reaches students, and the students in the top are the students that are enrolled in CCAP courses, the head count. As we move into fall 19 and 20, and we roll in the next year's 10th graders and our 11th graders are continuing, those CCAP numbers are going to go up. In fall 20 is when at least Riverside City College anticipates rolling out additional pathways. And so those numbers, as you can see, once you start adding pathways, you got building cohorts rather quickly, and we can serve as many as 540 students after we do a full rollout later. as the years go on. Okay.
And Dr. Farrar mentioned that we were going to be sharing things that are in progress and also some things that are under development. And I get to talk about the K-12 Strong Workforce Program right now. And I think before I talk about the K-12 Strong Workforce Program, which will start for our district next school year, I should maybe talk a little bit about the Strong Workforce Program. And the Strong Workforce Program was created in 2016 through the efforts of the governor and the legislature who recognized that in order to meet both the employment needs of the state of California as well as to ensure that as many of our citizenry are employed where they're earning a living wage, that we needed to invest more in career technical education, and that the community college system in California is the largest provider of career technical education in the nation. And so they created a annual budget of about $248 million to do more and better CTE at the community college level. And by more, they're talking about getting more students that are successfully completing their CTE training, many of which of the programs don't require a degree attainment, certification, and where they're getting better in terms of offering programs that are truly aligned to what our state and our industries need in order to be successful. And out of the work for the Strong Workforce Program, the community college system identified 10 really critical, high-impact industry sectors. And then said that regional needs may be a little bit different from what the statewide needs are. And so we formed 14 regional consortiums across the state, and we are part of the Inland Empire and Desert Regional Consortium, which it's made up of 12 community colleges in the area. And for our region, they identified 6 emergent and priority industry sectors. And so that's what our community colleges have really been focusing on across those 12 campuses to make sure that those programs are well supported and that we're increasing the number of students who are either entering the workforce for the first time or those that are coming back to be re-educated to improve their outcomes in employment. And what happened this year is that the state of California approved about $150 million for the K-12 Strong Workforce Program. And what they did is they wanted to see better alignment between the K-12 CTE system and the community college CTE system. And so we as a district were able to apply to our regional consortium with about $18.9 million available for our region. And what we had to do in our applications is we had to make sure that we aligned to, first of all, those 6 priority and emergent industry sectors, and that we were also supporting the overall goals and objectives of our regional plan. And in a nutshell, our regional plan, the regional plan is looking at increasing articulation and collaboration so that what students are learning at high school directly connects to what they'll get in the community college pathway, and that they'll be able then to get through their pathways more quickly, increasing opportunities for high school students to earn college credit, so again, that they're progressing more quickly through their career technical education training, and also to do a better job in terms of advisement and outreach and transition support from one system to the other. And so Jurupa Unified submitted 9 applications, part of that $18.9 million, and targeted healthcare. We have 2 pathways that work with healthcare. We have 3 that are in the digital and media arts, which was another priority area. We have 2 for information and communication technology, and then we have 1 in transportation, and it's our operations program at Buena Vista High School. And we are waiting to hear. They are reviewing applications this month and next month. Fingers crossed that we'll get at least some of that $18.9 million, and then in the fall we can come and talk to you about the great things that are happening in the K-12 Strong Workforce.
Next slide. That's it. Thank you very much.
have Mrs. Regal, we can start over here maybe. You're first, I'm sorry.
First, I always ask questions. Thank you for the presentation, it was incredible, and I'm just so glad to see the partnership that can motivate and inspire these kids to the unknown. And college is intimidating, and I'll be honest that I did not go to college. I applied, and I was terrified, I didn't know what I was doing and wasn't sure, so the guidance and the support, thank you all. I mean, this is really going to be very helpful to all of our students. I do have a few questions. Let me get through my list here. You know, being an advocate for a student that was in an IEP, and some of these students are really smart, but a little bit socially challenged or following processes. Are these students that will be under IEP that will follow into like a DOR, are they going to qualify as well?
The students, if they're in the program, we ask that if they have an IEP or a 504 plan, that they connect to the college counselor. You know, we have a DRC, which is Disability Resource Center. So we connect them to that counselor. She reviews the IEP or the 504 plan, sees what accommodations, because college accommodations are a little bit different than high school accommodations.
Right.
So to see what accommodations can be made, and if it's basically like an appropriate placement.
Okay, perfect. And then the Promise program is, from what I understand, that's a limited number of students that are accepted. So are all the students that are under this program, will they automatically qualify?
So the Promise program accepts application, at least at Riverside City College. We try to get at least 1,000 students, new students every year into our Promise program. And so, you know, it's definitely a possibility. We haven't reached the point where those students are ready to come to us yet, but I have no doubt that that those students could be accommodated in Promise.
Okay, that's all I have. Yeah, thank you.
Our numbers look really good for the programs that we have right now, but do we have a plan to really reach out to the students that we're not reaching to right now and convincing them that these are good programs? I mean, I see it every year when I go to graduation. We always acknowledge the students who have their years behind them, their college years behind them, and it goes up every year. But I kind of feel like there's a lot of kids that still just don't realize that it's there for them, it's an opportunity for them.
I can address that one. One of the things that we've done this year is with all of our academic counselors, we standardize the talking points that they do when they meet both individually and with grade levels to prepare them for registration and course selection for the upcoming school year. And dual enrollment, the opportunities for articulated credit through CTE, all of these things now have become standardized talking points, so they're shared with all of our students at that point in time. And then we also have a really strong partnership with both of these colleges and their outreach staff who hold regular office hours through our career centers and then working with students that way as well. And they're also professional development where their counselors and our counselors get together, the counselor-to-counselor network, so that we're building capacity for that whole group to be strong advisors for our students.
And then my other question is, with the courses that we're offering, the newer courses that we hope to be offering, how are do we have to retrain some of our teachers, or, and is there a question of, will they be paid for teaching a college course as well as a high school?
That's an amazing question, it's wonderful. So the great thing about CCAP is it does present a wonderful opportunity for faculty at the high schools who meet the minimum qualifications to provide instruction at a college level to apply to the college to be our part-time faculty. So your district would have to arrange their schedule so that they complete all their obligation to the Unified School District, and then the college would pay them as an adjunct faculty member to teach in the CCAP program. But they would have to meet the minimum qualifications to provide instruction for a college course. Yeah. And there are some issues with, right, and so there's the right of refusal for our full-time faculty and our long-time part-time faculty, and then they would be part of that pool and would be assigned, could potentially be assigned a course. And I believe Norco already has one of the faculty at Jurupa Valley working for them. Yeah.
I have another question, but I'll come back. I'll let someone, so maybe they'll answer. Thank you.
Anybody from the RCC side? Questions? Mary?
Thank you. So the first thing that caught my attention is the first chart. On our first day freshman, entering into our meeting, all of the high schools increased with the exception of Rubidoux. Rubidoux went from 87 in 2015 to 71 in 2016 and then fell to 64 in 2017. Have we identified what the factors were that attributed to that?
Not at this time, but we certainly will investigate. We'll certainly look into what the reason was. Oh, she knows. Yeah. She knows something.
I'm really proud of the work that's happening at Riverville High School, and they have done, just like many of our high schools, they have done really significant growth in terms of the numbers of their students that are graduating with their A-G classes completed, and with so many of our students at Riverville who qualify for fairly significant financial aid packages, we've seen an increase in the number of our students that are going directly to a four-year college.
So that was
Oh gosh. Okay, I've got a bunch of questions. First, what would you do to encourage our district to strengthen these programs for our students' success? I mean, physically, what can we do? Mentally, what should we be thinking about?
Again, I feel really fortunate that when I came into my position in the fall of 2016, one of the things that I was told is that Roberta, you will work with the community colleges and you will increase dual enrollment opportunities. So it's been a strong commitment on the part of our district for quite a while and been some of my marching orders. But I just think, number one, that we continue to provide those funds that we're paying for the textbooks, where we're perhaps providing transportation when there are situations where students might really benefit from being able to get to the college campus to take advantage of the library or some of the other support services that are there. Just in terms of general marketing and some of the work that our communications department is doing to make sure that people are aware that we offer this, and then to continue to work just in a really strong partnership and collaboration. I think we're going to see a lot of growth.
Anything you want to tell me to do when I go home tonight?
Should I tell you to do your homework?
I remember the student. But one thing you said is paying for the books. And you said the high schools pay for the books. Since it's through CTE, wouldn't we be paying for them anyway? She's making funny motions when I'm in class.
Yeah. What we have committed to for our students that are in dual enrollment as a district, that either through grant funding that might be available through the college or through district funds, that we pay for those college level textbooks.
Through that college or through the college district?
Through that college.
Oh, okay.
Something else that to help support is the schools need help and support. It is very paper heavy for the program. And if we don't have the support, especially, Jurupa Valley has been over the top trying to help and work as a partnership. But it takes a toll on their staff, because this is just an added extra thing that they need to do. And as the numbers climb and that work climbs, they need help. Maybe clerical type help to help. We only have certain rights when we're on the campus to be able to pull the student out of a class or to get them to come to office hours. And so that relies heavily on the high school staff to do that. And as you start growing in numbers, that just compounds a problem for them.
So would you say one staff person at each high school, or that person go?
Well, if you could do that, I'd hug you. That would be awesome.
Okay.
I wanted to circle back to the cost of the textbooks. One of the things that RCC, working with 2 of the high schools, has committed to is to kind of jigsaw our coursework so that the Unified School District purchases a set of textbooks for the theater appreciation class, and it's offered at one high school in the fall semester, and then the opposite is offered at the other high school. So they only need one set of textbooks to go back and forth, and the faculty who engage in the program have agreed to work to keep the cost down by committing to a series of textbooks for at least a 3-year period, and then before transitioning to anything new. And the college has an initiative to try to make online or low-cost resources available as well.
Do we have to have physical copies of them, if we could just load them on the Chromebooks?
We can explore that option.
Okay, that makes sense. Okay, I have a bunch of questions, so is it okay if I just pull it over?
Sure.
Okay. Describe how students receive the guidance counseling. Do they get pulled in every student?
It's a class. They get a uniform. They actually go to a class, once a week, because it's a 1-unit class. So once a week they go to class and have face-to-face instruction, just like they would if they came over to the college campus to do the same class.
I really like hearing that. Okay. Have you had any unexpected benefits or outcomes after getting this going?
I've had there was a level of faculty concern when we started offering these courses that the students maybe wouldn't be as enthusiastic or wouldn't really want to be there. And the reports that came back after the fall semester was, oh gosh, they were always there. They always came to class. Well, of course they have to, they're high school students, but they were always there. They were never absent, and they were always ready and always prepared. And they did their homework. Yeah. For the most part, yes. And so the faculty feedback was very, very supportive for RCC. We gave all of our faculty who were participating in the first semester program, we gave them a special assignment so that they could spend several hours coming back to the college debriefing us about how things were going and what we could do to improve and what we could do to make the experience better for the faculty, so that our faculty are better prepared to go in and deal with the students, and they've given us some really amazing feedback. So it's been heartening for the entire program to hear the positive comments coming back from the faculty.
Do you think the students appreciate what they're getting here?
No. Well, I mean, who knows? But I would hope so.
Their parents do.
I sincerely hope so, because it is truly an amazing opportunity for them. And as Maureen said, if the students don't appreciate it, I'm certain the parents see the benefit of all of this.
Okay, let's go.
Can I just say something here? I think that when you look at the student success rates, 90% is much higher than we have in the college. The average success rate in the college is around 70%. So I'm sure the parents appreciate that the student will work that hard to get 90% success rate if they didn't appreciate it.
I want to add one thing too that's critical and probably not measurable. When students complete one of these classes, they have completed a college class. So they have learned a sense of self-efficacy that you can't build any other way than by self-success. They know that they can handle a college class before they've gone away to college. And I think that's just a remarkable gift that they leave with.
I think another benefit that I wouldn't say was unexpected, but it's one that we'll certainly take advantage of, is I think that as kind of our front runners in this program, and the students who were the brave ones to say, okay, I'll try this, the CCAP classes for the first time, they have a lot of classmates who said, I might be interested in that, but I don't feel quite that brave. I don't feel like I'm willing to take that risk. And I think that we can point to the success of our students in that CCAP program, and I think it will be like, well, Jose can do it, and she can do it. I'm just like them, I can do this too. And so I think that will breed interest and enthusiasm for the program as well.
That's a great segue. One of you said something really nice about it, that Ruby Go never give up reaches. And my question is, describe the students who are taking advantage of these spectacular classes. I mean, critical thinking for a 12th grader. I know almost 6
The Reaches, the early college program, was really designed to serve those students who, coming into high school, knew that they wanted to go to college and they wanted to get a head start on that. So they were students who often were used to being in honors classes. They were open to the idea of advanced placement, all of those kinds of things. And so the very traditional, if you will, college-bound student. And we have provided a way for them to accelerate and to engage in curriculum that is rigorous and attractive to them. And then CCAP allows us to reach out to those students that are in more of the academic middle and who have not fully committed to the idea of college, but are at least open to considering it. And so we're able to get them involved and for them to experience success with that so that we then reap the benefits that they continue on with their education after high school.
Have you visited any other college districts who have programs similar to this? And how do you feel they're doing? Are there things you need to adopt, or should they be taking notes when you talk?
I've done that already.
Okay. Just a second, let me see if I have one. That's it, thank you.
I just have a comment I want to make. About 6-7 years ago, we had a tour of Rubio High School and the college classes being offered there. And some of the students who had been through the program spoke with us, along with the ones who were there, telling us that if that program had not been offered, they would have never gone to college because they were much more interested in games. And that was their family life, that was everything. Because the college classes were offered at the high school itself, they were willing to do that. Once they were successful at those classes, then they were willing to take a chance to go 1.5 miles away to go to the actual college. And the stories that we heard from some of the students themselves were really so warm, and they just touched the heart, with kids that were raised in gangs that were not willing to take chances except for what was actually offered at Bloomingdale High School, and how much that meant to them. And so I was really touched by that and very hopeful for what we're offering.
Thank you, Virginia. That kind of goes to what Mary was saying, I think, before, and some of the students that she grew up with, probably Sylvia as well, that didn't benefit from the education, so it's really does help them out. You got a couple questions? Sylvia?
I had a question. I think we get really excited when we talk about college and the experience, especially again if they're first time. But I have a personal story that I needed to take a leave of absence when I went to college because I unfortunately was never introduced to how stressful this experience can be for me, and how culturally shocking as well. I was living away from home. I was barely making it, and the stress level. And as we see, mental health is rising, and suicidal thoughts. I think we as leaders in education and higher education need to also partner in seeing what ways we can strategize in helping our students. And I don't know, and I've spoken about having curriculums, how to manage your stress, and even we as adults also, I think, need some help. So I think in the future, I don't know if some of these classes I'm looking at, college success strategies, I don't know what's in that class. So, or if you guys can share what is in that class, and having in mind that, you know, our students will go through some stress and will go through some emotional distress because of this experience, especially because they're first timers and because they're, you know, taking on new roles that, you know, hey, I'm going to be the first in my family to go to college, and this is an opportunity for me that they have never imagined unless they took that class in Monroe. So are we planning to keep that in mind, or is there a way for us to partner in that area as well?
Another excellent point. I think with the kind of wraparound services that are guided pathways, this is sort of fundamental to what to helping a student clarify their educational path and keeping them on that path and successful on that path would definitely involve some sort of support of that sort. Now, how we manage that, if it's through a formal guidance course or other mechanisms as the colleges roll out those integrated supports, those will definitely be available to all of our students, including our CCAP students. One of the things I think that we should remain mindful of is, while the pathways, while these pathways and our pathways at the college are set up for students to move through as quickly as possible, there are students who have certain challenges in life that may not be amenable to going to school for 15 minutes, 15 minutes, 15 minutes, 15 minutes. So we create an environment at the college where we try to help them with that, maybe take 13, 12 units in 3 units in an intersession or something like that. So even if our CCAP students maybe feel that, okay, I know you're going to offer me 2 courses, but I really only feel like I can take 1. The statistics show that if they just take 2 courses, they've already increased their likelihood of being able to being successful at enrolling in college right after high school, already increase their likelihood that they'll get that bachelor's degree, already, and especially if they're those first generation at-risk students. It's especially true for those. So I think that if we see students move through and say, oh man, did we fail them because they didn't get 30 units? They have succeeded just by participating in 1 or 2. And we have to do whatever we can, as you suggested, to support them through all of those emotional ups and downs and make them prepared, help them to be prepared for the stress and for the academic rigor that they're engaging in.
If I could just add a couple of things, Trustee Ortega, I think that was a great comment, and I was kind of waiting for the right opportunity to talk about why this is such great timing on the part of what RCCD is doing and what's happening in Jurupa. And I think as we significantly increase our resiliency training for students through the use of interns and clinicians and provide a lot of supports through Mr. Campos and Pico, and at the same time as we systemically, even starting at the lower grades in elementary school, systematize access to college as a goal for kids with our college kickoff days, with Avid Elementary being system-wide, with all of our elementary schools having a college that they've chosen and identified with, and then in the upper elementary grades, middle school and high school, we begin the college field trips as we teach kids organization skills through Avid so that they're preparing themselves to be able to successfully take and annotate and review their notes. And we build them emotional resiliency at the same time. I think then it's just amazing timing that now, as they get closer, they have these opportunities to sort of dip their toes in and take a class during their high school experience that exposes them to a little piece of what college is like, gives them some efficacy, and hopefully lessens that transition and maybe that shock of what it's like to really be in college, and prepares them both a little bit emotionally and academically to be successful. So I think it's part of the whole puzzle, and it's just a great time that all of this is sort of coming together at one time.
And I'm sorry, but there's 3 other small pieces of that puzzle that fit very well. One is, as you know, we've increased mental health interns at all of our schools. So the high schools have mental health interns that are going to serve all students, including the students in CCAP, include enrollment, and reaches whatever their program is. Second of all, it's, I believe, 3 or 4 years ago, we started Career Center counselors, who are also supporting students through the journey to get to college and working with their families. The other thing that we've done is this is the first year we've gone to our new counseling protocols at the high school. We now have guidance coordinators and counselors, and we're splitting discipline apart so that we have more resources to provide counseling to students. On top of that, as you're aware, the PK and PCO classes for parents help parents to work with students as they're going through high school and prepare themselves to go on the journey to high school, to college, and deal with those stresses. Because I think one thing that we've certainly encountered for first entry college students, sometimes their families are not as encouraging as we would hope they would be. Culturally, they want their students near home, which is one of the reasons community college is a great opportunity for families to become used to their students going to college. So there are a lot of supports in place, more than ever, mostly through our ability to develop an LCAP. So a lot of that's integrated that just fits very well with this.
Something on the college side also, they are a college student and therefore all the rights are reserved to them. We have mental health personnel at the campuses to help them through. They have to come to the campus, unfortunately, because we're not quite there with all of our wraparound services yet. But they do have counseling there, they have mental health services there, they have all different types of support mechanisms, tutoring, that they are able to connect into, and that's part of what that student resiliency is. We give those resources to them so they know where they can go to also get a little bit of extra help if they need it.
I think I should have been a little bit more clear. I think our role too is to not intervene, but so much prevent. And I think, and I'm speaking from my experience was probably unique, and not everybody's going to go through that experience. I was severely depressed and I had panic attacks when I was going to take a test, and I couldn't. I needed to take a leave of absence. So I think the opportunities are there for us to be more equipped to support our students and our parents as well, and building these tools into the classroom so that also teachers are learning, because teachers are also being burned out. So I think it's an opportunity for us to really have these conversations, especially if we're all leaders, and how we can really start implementing and have other districts and have other leaders in education also mimic what we're doing. So I think the opportunities are there, even though we're doing amazing work already. But if we look at the statistics, it's incredible how suicidal, just even thoughts of suicide are increasing. And I think we can't just dismiss a conversation like this. And one thing is going into college, and another thing is sustaining your attendance in college. And I think we also can see those numbers in a big difference. Thank you.
And Ms. Ortega brings up some excellent points. So you should know that there is currently a national effort by the community college system to address the issue of mental health, because it has come to the forefront across the nation, basically, that mental health issues are an issue that has to be addressed. The students are dealing with it, and for the very points that you've made. And because of the fact that they are on a community college system on campus, some of their resources are available to them, but some of it also is requiring more attention from administration and, believe it or not, from the elected members of the governing boards, because unfortunately some of that translates into where does funding come from. If we want to increase the mental health issues and address those issues, it's going to cost. And so where is it going to end up coming from? So that conversation, believe it or not, has been developing for the last couple of years. The ACCT, the Association of Community College Trustees, has had that on their agenda several times already. So it is an issue that is being addressed and it's being spoken to. The other aspect also, and you brought up a very good point, a lot of people don't realize that even now, the cultural significance of families plays into the level of support that students have. And sometimes it's not really because of the fact that the families don't want them going to college. Sometimes it's a need for the family not to have them go, because if they're at college, then that means that they're not available to work, and then they're not available to help support the family. And so that's another stress that's placed on that student at the age of 18 if he's coming out of high school or she's coming out of high school, to know that they're being depended on by their family in order to help the family survive. It also is not lost on the fact that we still live, believe it or not, in a time when, I can say this, in a lot of Hispanic culture, there is a tendency not to believe that the female daughter will actually be able to go to higher education and be successful. It's not. It is still something we see it more, I guess, at the college level than you might see it at the high school level. But we see it where some of our students, believe it or not, have had to leave their home because of the fact that the support was not there for them to go on to college. And so they had to leave the family in order to continue their education. And that has happened in our circles. It might be minute, but it's still there. The mentality is still there in some families that the female is still not worthy in order to continue on to higher education. But yet, they're living in this time and age nowadays where they're exposed to the fact that they're being taught, you can do it. You can't do it. And now they're starting to take it on themselves, and they are doing it. The last point that I wanted to make, because it was on all the conversations that you've had, the community college system, and I speak from experience, we need to do a better job. We need to do a better job of marketing ourselves to the community on all of these wonderful programs, these phenomenal outreach type programs that we have available to the community. And the unfortunate reality is that the community still sees the community college system as almost like a second-rate higher education system. When they think of higher education, they think of Cal State, and they think of UCs, and they think of private four-year colleges. It's almost unfortunate that they leave out that segment of the community college system. And yet, the community college system is the one that has the majority and is the most diverse higher education system in the entire nation. It reflects exactly that community that we serve. And because of that, and because of the fact that community colleges tend to be those locations where our local leaders, our local business people, our local people that decide to stay in the community, that's where they normally attend. Because if you think about it, UCs and Cal States tend to have students that come here to take their education, and then a lot of times they go back to where their families are, where they basically keep transferred from, but not the community colleges. Virginia Blumenthal as a trustee is probably your best example of that, because she went through it, she stayed here, she has her own business now, and then they continue to be successful and role models. And so we, as a community college system, we need to do a better job of being able to tell our story and to be able to tell our partnerships. In fact, to tell you, having sat at the national level on the national board, I can tell you that this district, Riverside Community College District, is viewed and watched primarily because we have partnerships with agencies like you, fellow trustee boards like yours, that others do not have. You need to know that across the nation, other community college districts don't even talk to their K through 12 systems. They have no conversations with them. And so when I would sit at some of our board meetings on the national level and would talk about some of the programs that we have with some of our partner districts, they were totally amazed. They wanted to know, do you mean to tell me that you guys actually meet with your districts? Because they don't. So what we have here is not just unique, but it is something that needs to be duplicated across the nation, because it does not happen. We do not see this kind of a get-together happening across the nation. And it's only because of the fact that we're able to do this, and we have staff and administrators and support from both of our districts to do these things, that we benefit the communities that we serve. So we should be extremely proud on that aspect.
Thank you, Ms. Figueroa. That fits right into a comment I would just be delighted to make about you, your trustees, and your staff. I remember sitting in Dr. Isaac's office when he was, I think at that point, vice president, and looking at charts on the wall that essentially charted out a lot of these ideas, and how hard he worked from that role, from the role as president, and now currently as chancellor. And virtually every single person we've interacted with has gone out of their way to come to our community, to come to our students. Dr. Reese came out to the Chamber of Commerce, he sought us out, and we are just ever really so grateful for the staff that you've brought on that supports the students in this community. And I couldn't agree with you more. I would love to see the community college be the college's first choice. If I were king, I would make it that you couldn't get a Cal Grant until you finished community college. But that's probably only one of many reasons they'll never make me king. But I want to thank you and for bringing out just and your support, and you're really pushing this as a board of trustees, and then the staff that have carried this out. They've been more than approachable and really built partnerships with our staff. At this point, it's kind of people like the three presenters tonight that just, the work is carried out by its own momentum. So thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sean. I just wanted to comment real quick, Mary, you mentioned that, and I'm proud of our district here, especially for not just focused on young female students, but when you see surrounded by females on this side of the aisle here. And we have some partnerships with like Code.org and other districts where we really focusing on young females getting to college. And parent involvement community outreach program is really doing a lot to make sure that our parents really understand what it takes to get to college and making sure that they have the resources they need. So, I'm proud of this district for really focusing on those efforts. And again, as Mr. Sean mentioned, Dr. Isaac, I know Mr. Hedrick also joined us for a Chamber of Commerce or some get together, and so it's really nice to see a partnership. I don't know if you have any comments, Jose? No? You good? Linda, you had another question?
I just want to say, I've been in the district all my life. I worked at Jurupa for 21 years. And I was there when there were grandchildren of the children that my classmates. Their children, like you said, the families stay in the area, and they stayed. I had one that came, and when I arrived at Jurupa back in 1997, he was there as a parent. His father, and then his grandfather would gone to school with me, so he was that young. His children were there. I watched his son graduate from Jurupa, then Mission, and then Rubidoux. And he kept coming back to me and he says, Mrs. Chard, he says, I'm going to make it, I'm going to college, I'm the first one in my class, in my family to go to college. None of the other boys made much of themselves. They were, at that time, you know, they were gang members, etc. But he came back to me and he said, thank you for what you did and what this district did for me. The teachers that I had at this school and in the other schools, you know, kept me going. And he said I had a reason to do it because I had a girlfriend, I wanted to get married, have a family. He went to RCC and took a few classes and he went on to UCR, graduated, came back as a sheriff. He's now a sheriff in Riverside County, and his children came back to bring his children to go there to Ina. So the generations stay in the area, and it's all because of the support we have from our community college district that helps those kids get that foot in the door. Back then, they got their foot in the door because they had no money. He got a PTA scholarship, and he got a couple others, but he still didn't have the money. He wasn't like some of the others who get their full rides or whatever. But he did utilize the RCC. And I know that at one of the graduations this year, and I can't remember, I think it was Rubidoux, the valedictorian said he was not going to a four-year college. He was going to RCC for 2 years and then going to a four-year college. So even if they get the high grades that they have, you know, to be the valedictorian, they still want to do that city college atmosphere. And I think it's good for them because I think it prepares them for, it may not prepare for the true world, but it'll give them a better idea of what college life is about. The only question I have for our kids, do we have something for the future? What are we looking at that we want to improve on, or want us to improve on for you guys as partners? What more are we going to do for the pathways? Are we looking at more pathways to open or stay on a structured certain number of pathways?
So the number of pathways depends entirely upon the high school and their needs and what we're able to, because we have the capacity to provide whatever the high school tolerance is for however much they want to share.
So where do we get our ideas for the pathways that are needed out in the...
So we talk with the career and technical pathways, those all go through a very rigorous evaluation every 2 years to make sure that our career and technical paths are leading to careers that the region needs. And so if we have a career and technical pathway, it's because that need is being met by that path. And so now with the K-12 partnerships and the K-12 strong workforce that's being developed, I would assume that we would leverage that to discern what kind of pathways in the career and technical that might be best fits for each of the colleges.
Is there something?
Rather than high schools, I'm sorry.
Is there something we could look at the middle school, since we're actually targeting 8th graders to start getting them interested in this? They're not taking courses, but we're just talking to them. Do we need to do more? I mean, I know that some of my granddaughter's a 7th grader. She's going on field trips that are to places where having great sure she must be a veterinarian, so she's going on all the field trips that are, you know, have to do with animals. But I think we maybe need to step back a little bit and go to the middle school to get them pushed before they get to the high school. I don't know if we're waiting too late to get some of them, but I'm new to this information, so I don't really know.
Yeah, Mrs. Chard, I'm happy to share some things with you. Just to let you know that we actually have college and career exploration curriculum that's been approved and is incorporated in both 7th and 8th grade. We have worked with a team of our California College Guidance Initiative, leadership from across the district, as well as with the community college system to develop that curriculum. We're using the californiacolleges.edu website for that. And then again, we have basically re-scripted what happens during that 8th grade year to prepare our students as they're coming into high school, so that they're more aware of what CTE pathways are there, they're more aware of A through G requirements, they're more aware of colleges that are in the area as well as across the state and the nation. So we are doing stuff there, and we have a similar curriculum that's been developed for TK through grade 6. And things that we're actually starting down there along with Abbott Elementary and some of the other efforts that are in place. So we do have stuff across our grades.
Thank you. So, I hate continuing, but another thing that you should know too, this district, 20 years ago, Elliot will remember this, was recognized at the White House for the Passport to College program that we had. And it was targeting the 5th grade of that particular year.
I was in the beginning of that. I watched this.
Remember that?
And I asked Elliot, do we have a count of how that turned out as a percentage of the, I think I don't know what was the elementary school, and I don't believe that there was another one at the time. We added, I think, West Riverside, but I think I don't know what was the one, and I was there. And so I was wondering how many of our students at that time, from that time, could actually finish college.
And I don't know what the numbers are. I mean, it's been that long and I wouldn't have remembered what exactly that number was. But you're absolutely right when you're asking, are we going far enough? And I think that Passport to College, which eventually ended up changing names and on the federal level became Jurupa, it basically identified the fact that you have to get down to at least the 5th grade level. And I think they even went further and said that it should have been the 4th grade level in order for us to plant that seed in those students. And again, that would not have been successful had it not been for the partnership that we had with the K through 12 that was all 6 districts that fed into Riverside Community College. So,
and they really didn't go into as strong of like grades as much. I mean, it was more you stay in school,
right,
and
conversation
you through all your education, and then you give, I think it was a free year, you were given a free year at RCC.
Because we ended up raising the $1.5 million that needed to be raised to cover that whole class, the whole 5th grade class of that particular year.
There are families that remember that.
Yes,
so
they do.
I'm sure that there are, that maybe was the seed that was planted to start this whole thing.
Very much so.
I just have a couple questions. So I look at the graph here, the growth, and I guess it looks pretty impressive, I think. And I know you mentioned there's a lot of great work being done by all the teams, and I know there's a lot of extra administrative work and that kind of stuff. But the question I had was, right now we're like 30 credits, maybe they can complete in high school. Are there any plans to increase that? And if there are there challenges outside of just sheer tough work that everyone's doing?
Conceivably, it's possible that the students could earn more. Right now, the limitation is 15 units in max. It would just require a little more conversation and a little more, a lot more planning to make sure, because what we don't want to do is have the students take everything that they're supposed to take in high school and take every single high school course and then layer on 30 units of college credit, right? So the goal is to help the majority of those courses be dually enrolled so that the course in history and U.S. history that they take gives them dual credit for the history A through G and their history requirement for the college. Those conversations take a little more finesse and a little more effort to reassure the high school faculty and to reassure the college faculty that we're moving on the right path. 30 units is about what the students can manage with a handful of that counting for A through G and a handful counting for electives and not being too much. So we would have to just explore a little more, but it's conceivable.
I think the early college component reaches. I think we need to do a lot more planning because it is possible. There are plenty of early college models where a student can finish high school and the community college simultaneously. So it's not easy. It requires a much higher commitment that we have been able to show to each other, but it is possible. So we were just chatting with the president for Riverside City College that our planning looks like we're starting at 100. We should actually look at how we can grow that number of the early college. The early college is a little different model than the CCAP, and it's intended to do that. It's intended to increase it all the way to like the middle college that we have already. There are students who finish both community college and the high school together at the same time. So I think we'll have to do more work. We have been a little overstretched. I remember we went down to a tough economic downturn and we have not fully recovered. But yes, it is on our horizon. So I think all we can say is that, and I'm glad, from the two boards, what you have done is have created a very enabling and empowering environment for the two to work together. We are always reminded by our board that we are a community college, which means we belong to the community. We are your college. We're not doing you a favor, it's our job. We need to respond to all the community needs, and we are committed to be able to do that. And in this process, what we have done is we've tried to tear down the wall that separates us. Now, it's not just the superintendent and the president and the chancellor who are talking. We're having, at every level, people are talking. The counselors are talking. The teachers and the instructors are working together. The faculty are working. This notion that, well, this is a high school course, it doesn't count in the community college, and so on and so forth, is going away. We're trying to find ways of having the high school teachers to teach college courses together with us so that the solidarity between the two is growing every year, and therefore our capacity to do more than what we have shown is still high. We haven't finished the race, we've just begun, and therefore we want to assure you that we're totally committed. This is what we want to do, and I think that you have simply reaffirmed and encouraged and created that environment for the two systems to work in perfect harmony.
I want to also mention that there are some competing factors and some of the things all of us, can help remedy. There are a lot of students who choose AP classes over Regis or over other classes, and they're still thinking name brand universities. There's a lot of pressure on students to take A through G, and I know Ms. Pace, and I believe the RCC people are working very hard to get what have traditionally been seen as the other career tech classes that now qualify as A through G. So there's some barriers outside of this room that people are working very hard on too. So, and it's as Dr. Isak says, we're really under full board here, but there's a long way to go, and I think a lot of that is how students, how parents, how the communities view colleges, and this is a good week to talk about this. It's not all about name brand colleges, it's about the quality of education, not the name of the college. So, and I think we are all really committed to do that. I spend a lot of time talking to our students about the fact that a Regis class is good at any college, whereas an AP class may not be.
When they get a CCAP course or a Regis course, it's a college course. You can take it anywhere, you've got it in the bank. Versus an AP that, well, maybe you didn't score a 5, or maybe they'll take a 5, but they'll won't. But if you've got a 3, they'll take it, but they won't.
I just want one last thing. It's not really a question. I think as far as financial aid, and maybe for both of you or all three of you, to make sure that our students are aware of the Calvet tuition waivers for children of disabled veterans, because that's really important. I mean, it's really important, and I know students don't always know about it.
And so part of that, and I don't know that we highlighted it very much because we're just starting with the 10th graders, but part of the plan is to establish for those students a smooth transition from CCAP or reaches into RCC or Norco or any of the Rainier Valley or any of the colleges, so that they would be fully informed of all of those, that and all of the other things that they have to do to successfully apply and leverage all of their opportunities at the college.
Thank you. Thank you all. Thanks everyone.
You know, I had a couple questions about, you were talking about some extra classes to take your, finish your degree early. I mean, are there plans for these students? Can they take summer school if they want, or is that not?
There's absolutely nothing that prohibits them from coming over in summer schools. A concurrently enrolled student and taking some classes. We're exploring at Riverside City College the idea of layering on a summer course or two into the CCAP program as an opportunity, as an option, not as a requirement. So absolutely, there's no. One of the benefits of CCAP is that we can now offer the course on the high school campus, and it can be closed. I don't think I mentioned that. It can be closed to just the high school population. So that's an added benefit. It doesn't have to, that the legislation allows us to do. So that helps a lot of high schools, because the challenge with the middle college model is all of those courses have to be open enrollment. So they have to be open to the college population as well as the high school population. Not all high schools can have that kind of arrangement, and not all high schools necessarily want to see 20-year-olds walking onto their campus and sitting down next to their 16-year-olds and taking classes. So it can present a challenge. So the legislation really allowed us to close those classes and offer them exclusively to high school students.
One thing that we're entertaining the idea and working on the logistics of it right now is offering summer, but because some of the high schools and I'm not sure about Jurupa how you work your summer school, but in other districts they have one summer school for all the high schools and they all go to that school. Well, we're then looking at offering dual enrollment on that campus, and it's open to any of the students in the district. So it's not just per school, it's the district, kind of like they do their high school classes. And so we're looking at doing that and getting the logistics of your summer program and our summer program and the hours and all that good stuff.
Mr. Garcia, can I mention something real fast? I think one of the things that I keep thinking about as I'm listening to this discussion tonight is most of the students that you serve and most of the students that we serve come from families where no one in their entire family has gone to college. We mostly serve students that come from historically underserved communities. A lot of families that come from recent immigrant histories, a lot of families with cycles of low income, and it's just a lot of students where no one in their entire family has gone to college. And so when you're getting ready as a 16, 17, 18, 19-year-old to start thinking about college, you're really starting to make decisions from a major deficit because you don't have anybody around you that can tell you about a very complicated system. So it's really important, I think, for us to form this partnership. So while they're in high school, you can help them make good decisions. We can pull them over to Norco College to make good decisions and to really protect them from student debt. This is a major crisis in the United States right now. A lot of students, like I said, when they're kids, right, they're making decisions about major debt, and they're doing it in a context where there's nobody around them to help make that decision. In this environment, we can give them a full year of college for free while they're at Jurupa Valley Unified. We can give them a first year at Norco College or RCC or Rainier Valley College for free through the Promise program. And then we can transfer them to institutions that are really great institutions. I just pulled up our transfer rates here. If you're in the honors program at Norco College, we have a 100% acceptance rate to UC Irvine. Not one student has been rejected from UC Irvine. And UCLA, which was ranked the #1 public institution in the United States last year, we have an 85.7% acceptance rate to UCLA if you're moving through the honors program there. So we could literally, if we really, treat these kids like our own kids, we could get them through a year for free through Unified School District, a year for free, and then get them on to an institution like UCLA where they graduate with a bachelor's degree and have a tremendous amount of opportunity at 50% the cost, saving the family and these students a tremendous amount of money. So it's something that I'm really excited about. Linda, you asked what we can do. I think what we keep doing is keep telling the story of that pathway. Because there are a lot of people that come in on these students, especially for-profits, they're like predators on our students, promising all this stuff up front with huge loans on the back end and these very terrible success rates, and they're just strapping them with these loans that they carry into their 40s and 50s because they're spending so much time trying to pay these debts back. So I think this is critical work for us to do, especially with the kinds of students that we're working with.
I agree with you, and I was thinking as you were talking, this scandal that's gone on, that this may be an opportunity for the community colleges to really get out there and tell the parents, we can offer the same thing that you're trying to pay thousands of dollars to.
That's right.
How did you? We're offering it now at the high school level so that they can complete at least 1 year. I mean, when you hear about all these people, all these kids that are disappointed they didn't get in, then you turn around and look back at their colleges now. They're at their community colleges, and especially ours. I mean, we're not one of the rich, wealthy areas, but we've got lots of graduates from our district that have gone on and done great things, and maybe they didn't go to the junior college, but maybe they did. Maybe they went there and started, but they don't always advertise because it wasn't kosher. It wasn't something that you do. Say, I went to a junior college.
I agree. I wanted to mention that to Mary is one thing. I'm a huge fan of RCC, even though I never attended it. It's something that I really promote. I mean, if I recall, nationally, the nursing program is something that cannot be beat anywhere. In your cosmetology programs, I mean, you have people lining up and waiting for those programs, and your band and other classes. So, that is something that I definitely encourage. Trying to persuade my daughter, but unfortunately, she wants the college experience. So, but many other students. So it's believe me, though, from my perspective and a lot of other community members, it's not considered a second-class thing. It is such a great opportunity, and we really don't have to go far to get these wonderful classes and wonderful programs in your sport, your athletics, and the band. I mean, it is just right down the road, so I agree with you that it's really important. I do have one more question, and it really is not quite pertaining to our students as children. We do have the adult ed program where we're getting adults to come back and finish their education with a high school diploma. Is there some sort of initiative that we're working on to talk about encouraging these people to move forward with RCC? If they're motivated when they're 20, 30, or 40, I'm sure that there's some motivation that they can accomplish this too.
Our adult ed system is also part of a consortium, and the pathways that they offer, not only do they work, I guess you'd say, downward into our K-12 system for students to matriculate into our adult ed pathways, they also work upwards into the community college systems or other programs where appropriate for students. So yeah, there are pathways and articulations in both areas.
And just to follow up on that, in the adult ed arena, we have ed advisors that are working with the various high schools. We've developed non-credit courses and in the process of developing non-credit programs to transition students from adult ed to non-credit to credit, we've really laid out the whole pathway.
Also, I can just let you know that we have a career center that operates in our adult school that's staff, and that they regularly have outreach staff that are there from RCCD and specifically set up appointments and times to work with students so that they get that one-on-one advisement for whatever they want for their future.
And we're moving into the season of welcome days, so RCC has scheduled with each of the unified school districts a welcome day for their adult ed students. And in fact, our first one is Thursday night. I can't remember which unified school district it is, so our first one is Thursday.
Start. You're as a board here, and you're as a board. What would you like to see from us? What area, is there a specific area that you would like us to really improve on or go towards? I mean, we want your help, so we know what we want, and we're getting it from you. But is there something you're looking from us that maybe we haven't touched on yet? Would like to see from us?
So one of my, and I've talked to Chancellor Islap about this, one of the pieces that I'm hoping to accomplish while as a trustee is I'd like to see this go to the students that I serve at the alternative ed programs, at the continuation schools. Those students are just as able to do it, but as those of you that have ever visited a continuation school, you know that life hit them a lot harder and they need this more than anybody. All these programs are great at the comprehensive high schools, but one of the pieces that I want to bring on, just what I've seen already, a little bit of outreach that goes from the 3 colleges to the high schools, to our continuation schools. We don't have something dedicated specifically to those young people that need it the most. And they're the ones that, if we're really going to talk about getting folks out of the current situation and changing their situation, those young people need it the most. So for me, it's not only just a thing for Jurupa. For me, it's the same for Winona Valley, Converti, Corona Norco, RUSD, is what are you doing to make this type of situation available for those young people that, and they're going to be the ones that need those wraparound services even more. You've talked about mental health services. I can't go a day without where do I refer a young person. So that would be for me an ideal place to see these programs talk about the successes of what they're doing with alternative ed students.
One of the, this is going to come to a surprise. This has come to a surprise to my board if I ever mentioned this, but one of the things that I remember of our presence at Rubidoux High School when we first came on site years ago. I attended an evening there, and the one thing that I was totally blown away with was you had a lot of adults that were coming to the classes that we were holding there. They were ESL classes. And the one thing that stood out was they were walking to the site because it was that close to them. And the comments that they had were, if it were not that close, they probably wouldn't be able to go. And I guess I know that that has dwindled, Dr. Isak. I know that that has not been something that we have kept up. And I guess over and above the dual enrollment presentation we've had, which has been phenomenal, I think we also don't want to forget about the rest of the family members that are out there in the community that now, over 10 years ago, walked to Rubidoux High School and felt comfortable to go there and go to the back. It's a trailer that we have in the back, and take those ESL classes. And, you know, it was something that you could tell, you could see it. They were very proud of the fact that they were able to go there and to take these classes. So I would like to say maybe we need to take a look at resurrecting something to continue that effort of addressing a population that doesn't always get served also.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I think some of those, maybe Ms. Space can talk about this. I think our adult school may address some of those ESL students as well. Not that we can't do more, I think.
Yeah, not that we can't do more, but our ESL faculty and the ESL faculty at the adult school are collaborating now with the advent of AB 705 to make sure that we align our curriculum and that we're developing entire new pathways that would maybe fit very nicely as they evolve with some of our efforts at the adult school.
Yeah, you know, I'm just going to make a brief comment because really the nice thing about being toward the end is everything has pretty much been said very eloquently, and I certainly concur with it. But when you ask what could the district do, and again, I only mention this, it's probably somewhat controversial within the K-12 system. But having spent 37 years there, I kind of know how it operates. And in this one sense, we've talked a lot about transferability and et cetera. And I don't know if you all have heard the ads on the radio the last couple of weeks. Mike Diamond Plumbing started at $100,000. And all I can do is think of my daughter with her BS from UCR in biology, who couldn't get a $15 an hour job, ended up night desk at the Marriott at the Ontario airport until she enlisted in the Army, which she could have done a little sooner before acquiring $60,000 in debt. My point is that your counselors need to keep an open mind sometimes towards CTE. Believe me, after 4 decades, I understand the history as to why we push everybody into 4-year programs and you got to get a degree, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. There are many ways to make a living, and things are kind of upside down at this point. And there are plenty of trades where you're going to start at $40,000, $50,000, or $60,000. Apprenticeships that we offer, and so I would just make sure that there's a balanced view, because we also offer these spectacular CTE opportunities that lead to real jobs that are livable wages, that are middle-class jobs, and you can get there in nine months, a year, 2 years. We have accelerated programs, and so the counselors just in all of our districts need to keep an open mind that it is a legitimate path for some kids.
Here, here. Actually, it's something this case and I've worked on quite a bit, as well as our high schools. One of the issues we have, because these are not always easy things to do. So we were trying to do a water operators class at Blue Valley. The problem is most water operators, after they've been working 4 or 5 years, are making $100,000 a year or more, and don't want to give those jobs up quite yet. We've had the same issue hiring engineers. And one of the things we've tried to do, both through high schools and our adult program, is offer highly trained, short-term, learnable skills to people that can get jobs. One example is phlebotomists at our adult school, but we've tried to work through we've opened an innovation center. I hope you all have an opportunity to see it sometime. at Jurupa Valley High School, which is designed to really mimic the work environment. There's the same tools you would see in what is now a metal shop, not your grandfather's metal shop, because I still have a couple of those tools. And they don't work anymore, but they're to train students to work with plasma cutters and CNC operations, with digital, computerized 3D printers, and you name it, even virtual welding machines, so they can learn how to weld. So I think what you say, though, Mr. Hedrick, is quite true, that sometimes the hardest group is us, and to look internally, and it's again that sort of mystique of a four-year college education, and I certainly couldn't agree more wholeheartedly.
One further comment. My children graduated UCR, and when my youngest daughter she was going over to the University of Barcelona to study, and she needed letters of recommendation from two of her professors. This is actually getting to a point as far as what we can all do to help raise the level of esteem of the community colleges, specifically Riverside City College, Norco College, and Reno Valley College. When she had to get the letters of recommendation for her professors, she realized she did not know one of her professors. At Riverside City College or any of the other community colleges, when you're taking health science, English 1A, history, and so on, you're sitting in a class of 25 to 35 students being taught by an actual professor. You go to these big four-year universities, and you're sitting in a class of 250 to 350 students being taught by a graduate assistant. My daughter actually graduated from UCR, never having met one of her professors. That's the kind of information we have to give to our students about the kind of education you get at community colleges. You put it down, it's just a junior college, when they're community colleges. We do not express the incredible value that you get at these community college institutions on the level of education that you get. Now granted, I went there 50 years ago and graduated. But I got a better education at a community college than I did to any of the big four-year universities I went to thereafter for my bachelor's and master's degree. There is no comparison in my book, and I think it's incumbent upon all of us to put forth the truth of the level of education you get at a community college. I think will help all of our students, especially those at the high school level, and those counselors who keep saying over and over and over again they have to go to the big four-year university to start, and that is simply not true. And I think that is a big area that this board could help us in.
Thank you for those comments, Virginia. Thank you all for your comments tonight. I know we could talk all night, probably until midnight. I just want to see if there's any final comments from Dr. Reese. Any final comments? You don't have to say anything. No. Okay. I'm sorry. Okay. Dr. Anderson? Mr. Duchamp? Nothing? Okay. Thank you all, to our presenters, everyone.